Mama's in Control, episode 341. Okay, ladies, I'm back. Another day, another podcast. Today I wanted to talk to you about not liking your kids. This has come up in multiple conversations in the last week with clients and friends and colleagues. And the way it usually goes down is, I have a confession to make. I have a secret, Heather. I don't really like my child. Okay, what does that mean? Before we dive into today's episode, I want to just gently remind you, if you're not following me on Instagram, head on over there at Mama's in Control. This is the best space to send me your direct messages for podcasts coming up. Right now, I'm talking about leadership and motherhood. So if you have anything related to that, send me a DM on Instagram and I will keep a tab of it, and your answer or your question might be answered on the podcast. So this is a really big issue. I was writing a little bit about this, of why not liking your child is a good thing. And I really just want to give you permission today to say, I don't like my child, or I don't like my children, or I don't like this stage in parenting. Why? Because it's your truth. So people always assume, because my brand is called Mama's in Control, and I have professionally done photos that, you see a few photos online and you automatically assume that everyone's life is perfect. And it's not. And I also don't think it's fair that, I think that's just like a construction of the ego. I hated parenting for years, and that's why I created Mama's in Control, because I felt like there was something wrong with me because I wasn't enjoying parenting. And liking and loving your children are two different things. So some people will say, I don't love my child. And I ask again, then why are we talking? Why are you seeking help? Why is your bedside stacked with parenting books and self-help books? And why do you feed your child? Why do you buy them clothes? Why did you go on that family vacation? Why do you invest in their education if you don't love them? Why would you do that to somebody you didn't love? And then they reframe it and go, well, I guess I love them, I just don't like them. And why would you like someone that maybe treated you like crap, disrespected you, felt like all you did was give to this person, and you didn't feel the gratitude and respect in return, right? Also understanding that this child necessarily is not trying to make your life miserable. It's just situational. They're struggling. But this is really interesting. So I decided to do this podcast topic today, and I was scrolling on Facebook earlier, and I saw this article, which I typically don't see articles like this, and it was titled, and fake news, Facebook, I get it, but it was titled, Single Dad Wants to Give His 2-year-old Son Up for Adoption So He Stops Resenting Him. And the quote above it says, I just feel so tired and secluded from the world. My only friend is my son. Between work and him, I have no free time. And at the time of reading this, there was like hundreds of comments underneath. And the comments varied from suck it up, buttercup, to, oh, poor you, poor white boy problems, poor, now you know how all of us women feel, to, hey, this is awesome. Like, thank you for speaking your truth, to get the help that you need and stop blaming and shaming, parenting for your problem. Get help, blah, blah, blah. So I was watching the array of comments and thought to myself, this is why parents, not just women, this is why parents and people in general feel isolated. Because the second we speak our truth and speak out loud something as taboo as I don't like my child, what happens is you not only open yourself for judgment, you open yourself to be shamed, to be blamed, to be ridiculed, right? It's like someone staring you down and just poking and prodding every little bruise and imperfection on your body and your life and just getting you right in the heart. Because there's a lot of unwritten rules in parenting, and one of them is you are gifted this child, however they come into the world and in your life. You don't have to give birth to a child to be a mother or a father. This child comes into your life and you're like, immediately the expectation is all of a sudden your DNA changes. You become this superhuman and you love this human unconditionally. You feel this immediate attachment to them, and you no longer have any wants or desires or needs. And for whatever, we just have this very fucked up illusion and definition of what is supposed to happen when we become a parent. My personal experience was, and probably just because I came into motherhood like very abruptly and rapidly when I was 18, was I went from teenager to parent, and I missed that gap of like enjoying my life. So I immediately, probably before my son even came into the world, was resentful. I was like, this child is going to suck the life out of me, and I've already lost my 20s. And the feedback I was receiving from people was, you play with fire, Heather, you got burnt. Your life is going to suck. This is the consequence for your action. You are now a mother. You will now never do anything for yourself, yada, yada, yada. And I thought, wow, that is so inspiring. That is so encouraging and motivating. That gives me so much energy. I'm so excited. I also love the feedback that people give me of like, ooh, you're entering the teenage years. Oh, this is going to be hard. Really? Really? Does it need to suck? Or can I choose a different reaction in my life? I don't like everyone all the time. I don't like myself sometimes. Sometimes I don't like certain foods. Sometimes I don't like the weather. Just because you don't like someone doesn't mean you don't love them. And to be honest, to be 100% honest with you, sometimes giving a child up for adoption is the most loving thing you can do, because you know you cannot be that support for that child. Just know the decisions that you make in your life, in your parenting, other people might not agree with it. But you have to ask yourself deep down, did I just make that action? Did I just take that intention, and did I do it for the best? I don't even know what I'm trying to say. I don't want to say the best intention, but did I, in my gut, in my heart of hearts, do it because I hate and despise and resent my child? Or did I just take that action because I will chop off a limb for them? This is what I think is really happening in the parenting world. Every human on this planet has a mom and a dad. There was an egg and a sperm that had to create this human. I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but so far, since the beginning of time, that's what's happened. Parenting, everyone has parents. Whether they know who they are or not, everyone has a set of parents. Now, how we choose to parent, that's a lot of people making a definition, right? There's culture, there's so much that comes into this definition of who you need to become. So I say, let go of all of that. Let go of the expectation of who society is telling you need to be. Let go of the expectation of who your mom is telling you to be. Let go of the expectation of who your grandma thinks you should be. Let go of the expectation of who your neighbor. Let go of the expectation of who Heather Chauvin thinks you should be. Yes, I just talked about myself in third person. Let go of the expectation of who Dr. Shefali tells you should be. Let go of the expectation of who your pediatrician tells you should be. Be your own guru. Oftentimes, in my own personal experience, when I disliked my children the most was when I disliked myself the most. When I disliked my life. I was miserable, I was at my bottom, and I was projecting my misery onto my children. And so when I'm teaching women, educating, mentoring women, and showing them that when you feel full in other areas of your life, like emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually, career-wise, money, relationships, marriage, all of this stuff, partnership, who cares? There's so many buckets in our life. And you look at your kids, they might be going through a rough patch. You might be like, you know what? You are the most challenging child to ever be put on this earth. Why were you gifted to me? Like, you bring me to my knees every single day. I don't like you. And you might write that in your diary. You might only think it in your head. You will never say it out loud. But that child was given to you for a reason. And so leadership, because this week is all about leadership. Leadership is about showing up in your life. So when I read this title about this single dad who says, oh my God, I want to get rid of my kid because I'm resentful towards him. What he's really saying is, I want my life back. Like, give me my life back. How can I create a life out there when I'm a parent? I go to work, I come home. I go to work, I come home. But I guarantee you he's never looked around, especially in the single fatherhood world. I mean, moms, everything you see on parenting is mostly from a perspective of women. I mean, some books are authored by men, but you don't see as many mom groups out there as you do dad groups, that's for sure. So the reason why we feel isolated is because we're buying into this cultural belief that we need to suffer and struggle as parents, and that we can never be away from our children. And, you know, if we spend any time away from our kids, we're bad. We failed. And to step outside of that conversation, you are being brave and you are being courageous and you are being vulnerable because you're putting yourself in a position to be judged. Nope, I'm not going to do that. Nope, I refuse to put my children in 20 activities because I just want to have like downtime. You know, we're all full during the day. I don't need to like squeeze every last drop of the 24 hours. Like, I just want my kids to play and be and do. I'm sorry, they might not be fluent in 20 languages and, you know, do 20 different activities and be in travel sports for everything. And they might not know how to play the piano or whatever. Or they might. Who cares? If it works for you, make magic happen. But my point is, if you are so overwhelmed by your life, tired and exhausted, something has to change. And the thing is with parenting, the second you decide to jump outside of the box and do anything different, you will be judged. Deciding not to drink like cow's milk in my house, it was like I started World War III with some of my family members. And some of the other parenting decisions I made, I was an awful human being. I was directly ridiculed. So if you stay in a place of lack and fear and parenting, what happens is you start to do less for yourself, and then you do more for the kids because you're reacting and you're living in this state of fear and lack. And when you do that, what happens is you become angry and resentful because you're like, give to them all the time and you do nothing for yourself. And you're just like over here shriveling. Your soul is slowly leaving your body. You're physically barely alive, maybe mentally barely alive. And you're asking yourself, I'm so angry and resentful and I hate this life. I resent taking care of my kids. But what if you just started to fill yourself up? Your children may still be extremely challenging, but they won't consume 100% of your brain power anymore. I started noticing this when I really gave myself permission to run with my business, because I had a belief, because I wanted to both stay home with my kids and I didn't want to work 80 hours a week. So I had to find a middle ground where I could still have them in my life and I still enjoy spending time with my kids, but I also enjoy helping others. And I had to find a passion outside of parenting. And when I did that I liked my children more. Like it almost happened instantly. But I had to also start surrounding myself with like-minded people, because I was surrounding myself with people who weren't like me. And so I started to compare myself like those other people. And it's not that I'm better than anybody. It wasn't that. It was just I didn't find my people. And I would look at people and be like, are you okay with this? Because I was like a go-getter and I didn't know this. I was a dreamer. I was an ambitious doer. And these people weren't that. And they would judge me. And I felt judged and ridiculed because I wanted to do something outside of parenting that brought me joy. And for a very long time, every time I did something to fill my own cup, what happened was I was considered selfish. I was considered, I can't even count on how many fingers and toes. If I would be like a gajillionaire by now, if everyone gave me a nickel for every time I heard someone tell me in some form or another that I was selfish for doing what I did when I first started. Something as simple as going to for a walk by myself. It didn't even have to cost anything. One time I had one of my children's teachers, this is like a caregiver who takes care of my child, tell me the only vacation they had from their children when they were younger was when they were admitted to the hospital. And I said, well, fuck, that's pathetic. Hello, ladies, gentlemen, you need a life. Go get one. You don't need to like your children all the time. Sometimes we need space from these beings. They're intense. They got these throbbing little spirits growing. They're like little puppies. They're trying to figure out who they are in the world. We all need space from each other. So today's message is, I grant you permission to not like your children all the time. I didn't always like mine. Some days I still don't. But I will tell you, I'm not perfect. Please don't pretend I'm perfect. But since I've decided to love myself more and be okay, like myself more, let's not even talk about love. Let's talk about liking myself more and doing what my soul is craving, just the little tiny things. And the fuller I feel when I am in the presence of one of my children and they're really struggling with something, I can be there. Where before, if I show up and I'm like, oh, you again? Frick. Oh, I don't have time for your emotional meltdown. I'm having my own over here. This is what mom is. Mom is in control of her own shit so that she's not projecting it onto her kids. So my challenge for you today is, I want you to get out your pen and paper because yes, I am a fan of journaling and I know you might not be, but you got to figure this shit out. I want you to write this down. What is it that I really don't like in my life? What is it about your children? So if you said, I don't like my kids, it's not them you don't like, it's how they make you feel. So what is the feeling? This is the question. I know it's long-winded. This is your challenge. What is the feeling that you don't like that your child makes you feel? It might feel little, you might feel stupid, you might feel small. I guess little and small is the same thing. You might feel like they suck the energy out of you. What is it that they do to you? How do they trigger you? It's not them that you don't like. It's how they make you feel. So what is the feeling that they, make you feel? What is that? Target that. And if they're like, they make me angry, they make me feel less than, they make me not trust myself, they make me feel stupid, they make me feel disrespected. And then I want you to write that down. Disrespect, little, not confident, I don't trust myself, whatever that is that comes up for you, and ask yourself, who else in my life made me feel that way? Who else in my life made me feel that way? And these are all little breadcrumbs that will help you lead yourself back to who you were born to be. Your children are here to heal you. They're not healers, but they're here to show you your wounds so that you can do the personal development work to become the best version of yourself. Which is why I think you can both rock parenting, career, health, relationships, money, time, and energy. You can rock all of these areas and feel like a stellar parent at the same time. I am living proof. So, if you're interested, I have 2 things coming up. 1, check out the mastery program if you feel like you are the ambitious go-getter who wants mentorship, who's ready to step into a like-minded community of women who want to rock parenting and yet fulfill their soul. So head on over to mamasincontrol.com and fill out that application. If your application comes in before January 31st of this year, you will qualify to attend the 1-day mastermind that is on February 22nd. The second thing we have going on is the 1-day mastermind. More details for that are coming up probably by the end of the week, so stay tuned for that. I'm going to be giving out promo codes. This is for ambitious women. I keep saying ambitious women, but what I really mean is driven women who are on a mission to live a purpose-filled life. You want to live on purpose. You probably have some guilt around all of this. I totally understand that. But you just want to feel content and on fire. You want to give back. You want to make a difference in the world. And you understand the power of feeling whole, mind, body, soul, career, parenting, relationships. You're just like, I want more. That is who the 1-day mastermind is for, and also the women that I attract in the mastery program. So if this is something you're interested in, head on over now to take advantage of those bonuses, mamasincontrol.com. And if you don't do that, at least get out your pen and paper. And if you can't even do that, then go to the notes section on your phone and ask yourself, it's not my child that I dislike. It's the feeling. What is that feeling? And ask yourself that. Talk soon.